Welcome back. I'm Nyx, your intuitive coach and energy alignment mentor, and this is your weekly energy update where we track what's moving through the collective field so you can move with it instead of against it. So, this week opens up with two of the most significant astrological events of the year landing on the same day. July 26th, Saturn stations retrograde in Aries, beginning a new 5-month karmic audit of your personal leadership, your discipline, your boundaries, and the foundations you've been building on since February. And the lunar nodes shift into this Aquarius Leo axis for the first time in nearly 2 decades, opening an 18-month collective evolutionary chapter that will shape every eclipse from now through 2028. The last time we had this nodal placement was 2007 through 2009. And this time it arrives with Jupiter already in Leo, amplifying everything. So what does the nodal shift mean in plain language? Essentially, the North Node moving into Aquarius is asking us collectively to become more future focused, more community minded, more conscious of our interconnectedness and our impact on the people around us. The South Node moving into Leo is asking us to release the excessive need for external recognition, ego validation, and performing for applause, and instead share our creative gifts as a genuine service to the world. So individual ego versus collective good. That is the evolutionary axis we are walking through for the next 18 months. Now on July 27th, the Sun opposes Pluto while trining Neptune and sextiling Uranus simultaneously, a realization of new consciousness, identity confronting transformation, new possibilities becoming visible, a greater purpose emerging. Then July 29th delivers what one source was calling like the largest visible portal of the year. The Sun conjuncts Jupiter in Leo while simultaneously a full moon peaks in Aquarius conjunct Pluto. Optimism and expansion meeting deep unconscious transformation. Things that have been contained under pressure are going to surface, and they're surfacing so you can release them, not so you can be destroyed by them, okay? And then just ahead, not in this weekly window, but just ahead, but building already in the field, we have the total solar eclipse in Leo on August 12th, the first eclipse of this brand new nodal axis. The door is opening. We will get into that more next week, okay? So with that said, let's see what the cards have to say about all of this. Now, each week we go through 4 cards. The first card gives us the energy of the week. The second card tells us what's being asked of us. The third card focuses on the energy center calling for attention. And the last card highlights how we hold and integrate this all together. So, first card up. So the energy of this week is the knot. Please focus. It's about relationships, and it is card 35. Okay, so relationships are under a spotlight this week, which makes complete sense when you understand the lunar nodes are shifting into like Leo and Aquarius right now. The cosmic evolutionary axis I just mentioned is literally repositioning itself around how we relate to each other, to our communities, to ourselves. So this week, every relationship is being invited into the light. Your relationship with family, with your romantic partner, with your friends, with your career, whether you're building your own or working within someone else's structure. This one is coming through particularly loud this week. But then also your relationship with yourself. The self that is here right now, the relationship with the past selves, and the relationship you're building with the future version of you, the person you're becoming, evolving into, growing into, or avoiding growing into, okay? What we're looking at this week is bonds, the bonds you have with people, places, things, mindsets, habits, patterns, cycles. Some bonds speak to unionship, some speak to your relationship with yourself, and this week the energy is supportively encouraging you to open your eyes and evaluate or reevaluate what connections are true versus what connections are a filler, what connections have authentic substance and depth versus what connections offer you the ideal aesthetic appeal, but not much else. This doesn't feel negative, however. Good relationships have the opportunity to get better this week. Strong bonds are being given the opportunity to gain more substance and more depth. You're being given the chance to deepen what's actually working. But you also need to take honest stock of what connections are truly healthy, truly valuable, truly worth pouring your energy into. Some connections come with complications, and complications don't automatically mean not worth it. They just mean you need to be real with yourself about the effort required. So ask yourself which relationships deserve more of your time, your patience, your grace, and which ones need a different kind of recalibration, okay? Because with the South nodes moving into Leo right now, the cosmos is asking you to release the bonds that exist primarily for ego, validation, and external recognition, and lean into the bonds that actually serve your growth and the growth of the people around you. That's the evolutionary invitation, right? Not just for this week, but for the next 18 months. So what's being asked of us this week is to loosen your grip, coping mechanisms, density, addiction, and let God in. Focus. Focus. All right, so it's time to let go. Whatever you're clinging on to right now, whether it's a habit, a pattern, a mindset, a dense and heavy emotion, a connection, a project, a version of yourself, it is preventing you from aligning to the flow you actually desire, because what we grip the tightest is almost always the very thing we most need to release, right? I feel like the thing is, don't just look at the grip, look at the meaning behind the grip, because the thing you're holding onto is exposing a vulnerability you might not be speaking out loud. If you're overeating, undereating, holding on to a connection that is loudly unhealthy, staying in a situation you can clearly see isn't good for you, that is showing you something. There's a vulnerability underneath it that you're either aren't aware of yet or aren't ready to admit to yourself. And the clinging is the protection. Now, this kind of brings to mind Brene Brown, something she said in her call to courage talk that has stayed with me. You can choose courage or you can choose comfort, but you can't have both, not at the same time. So what say you? Will you step into courage or stay in comfort? Will you reevaluate or continue turning a blind eye? Will you loosen your grip or hold on for dear life? Masking the vulnerability underneath, essentially. Something to think about with this, loosening your grip doesn't mean what you're clinging to automatically disappears, okay? It may. For some of you, it will release quickly. For others, it may stay exactly where it is. But the difference is, if you loosen your grip, it's not holding you in place anymore. It's choosing to stay. And that distinction matters, because what's meant for you will stay, and what isn't will flow away as it should. So loosening your grip allows you to breathe easier. It allows you to be present with yourself. It strengthens your self-trust, and it softens you to the grace that life has to offer you as you navigate what's coming next. So with the sun opposing Pluto this week, things have been held under pressure. Things that have been held under pressure are surfacing. You don't have to force this release, okay? You just have to stop holding it in place. So energy center balance for attention. We have here the crown chakra is here this week, and the card is confusion. Okay, so we've literally just moved out of retrograde. So the fog is supposed to be clearing. Clarity is supposed to be arriving more easily, and yet confusion for the crown chakra is showing up, calling for attention right now. So when you look at the transits, honestly, it makes sense. Yes, Mercury's direct now, but don't forget about the post-shadow period though, okay? But simultaneously, we're entering Saturn retrograde. Neptune has been retrograding since July 7th. Pluto is retrograding in Aquarius. Chiron is dancing in Taurus. The lunar nodes are shifting for the first time in nearly 2 decades, and the sun is opposing Pluto this week. So we're talking like old identity, confronting transformation. So of course, the crown is sitting in confusion. The field is recalibrating at a fundamental level. The clarity is coming, but you're in the middle of the recalibration, and the middle always feels like confusion, right? So with this, what this card is essentially saying here is you may be seeking a little bit more information before you settle on a truth that has already surfaced. You may not be fully trusting the clarity that's already arrived. You want more proof, more certainty, and I get that. But sometimes you already have the answer, and you're just not ready to act on it yet. So for those still sitting in the fog, don't resist it. Try to force yourself, or don't resist it. Don't try to force yourself out of it. Come back to your body first. Do breath work, do meditation, do some embodiment practices, okay? Because sometimes the mind cannot settle until the body settles first, and the body cannot settle until you actually connect to it. And like I've said before, My resources are on the channel for this exact reason. The meditations, the breath work, the embodiment practices, that is me holding your hand when I'm not able to do so in person. So please use them, or if you have another favorite person that does it for you, use the resources that are there for you. Either way, let go of needing an immediate answer. Find some gratitude in the confusion if you can, because just like emotions, just like repeated patterns, just like everything that shows up in these readings, confusion is also a compass. It's your energy directing you back to yourself. The clarity is in there. Let it surface on its own time. Cool? Cool. Now this is how we go integrate it all together. We're going to do so with spirit guides. Okay, so what this means is you're not alone in this. You've never been alone in this, whether you call them guides, angels, ancestors, God, the universe, your higher self, whatever. There is a team of unseen forces that has your back, that has always had your back, and they are particularly present and active in the field right now. But here's what they won't do, okay? They won't do the work for you. They are not the magic genie. They are not going to sweep in and remove every obstacle or hand you the answer on a silver platter. What they will do is point the way, offer a nudge, send a sign, place the right song in your path at the right moment, bring a person into your orbit at exactly the right time, sending a feeling so precisely right that it stops you mid-step. They speak subtly through synchronicities, through gut feelings, through that thought that lands and feels too right to dismiss. They won't announce themselves loudly, but they're always communicating. You just have to be open enough to receive it. And I feel like this is why the crown chakra showed up this week alongside spirit guides, because meditation, stillness, and presence are the channels through which that communication flows most clearly. Crown and spirit guides go hand in hand. When you get still enough to hear yourself, you hear them. When you clear enough of the noise, the guidance becomes unmistakable. So with the North Node right now in Aquarius asking us to move towards collective purpose and community, your guides are not pointing you toward isolation or solo striving. They are pointing you toward your people, your aligned community, the ones who are walking this road alongside you. You were never meant to do this alone. I've said that so many times before. That truth is now written in the stars for the next 18 months, okay? So open your channel, get still, let them guide you, and then take the steps they're showing you. That's your part. Now, that is your energy reading for the week of July 26th to August 2nd. And just remember, we have the total solar eclipse in Leo arriving on the 12th. The first eclipse on this brand new Aquarius Leo nodal axis, the door that opened this week with the nodal shift, is about to swing wide. So we'll get into that next week. Drop in the comments, if you will, what is one bond to a person, habit, a mindset, or version of yourself that you're finally ready to loosen your grip on? Be honest. That's where the release begins. Once again, welcome back to my regular viewers. I appreciate you vibing out with me. If you're new here, and with the nodal shift happening this week, this is generally one of the most powerful moments to start vibing with me. So welcome. Please hit subscribe. The next 18 months are going to be significant, and we're going to track them together week by week. And if someone in your life is feeling the weight of this week without knowing why, please send this to them. The cosmos is shifting, and nobody should be navigating that alone, okay? So take care of that beautiful energy of yours. I will see you next week.